I'm Carmen. I did 4 A-levels the year before, and I retook a year in MPW last year, and now I'm doing politics and international relations at UCL. I did 6 years of compulsory state school for primary school, and then I spent 1 year in international school, and I came out when I was 13 to do my GCSEs and A-levels in private school in Kent, and now I've spent a year in MPW. So when I actually did my A-levels the first time around, I had no idea that my grades were going to be like that way, in that way. So obviously I got quite good offers and I was pretty confident, but obviously I didn't do as well as I anticipated at all for my A-levels. And then we had many choices. We had the choice to just find the university through clearing, which is what we did first. We did get the, I nearly fully enrolled in Westminster. And then it was quite a sudden decision for us to go, you know what, we can undo this. Let's try and look at other options. And immediately MPW turned up. I think it was a recommendation made by somebody my parents knew, I think an agent that was also quite a close friend of my parents. And it was like one of the first recommendations that were made, and we immediately considered it. Yes, it was recommended, definitely. I didn't have knowledge of this college before, but yeah, I soon got to know it. My knowledge of MPW when we kind of applied here was that it has a set of, I guess, resources tailored to help students retaking, and it showed it seemed quite professional at it. So me and my parents were quite confident in, just spending this year being really focused and grounded in a different environment. Yeah, so MPW was more one of the first choices that sort of came up. My parents mentioned it immediately, and I was like, yeah, let's go visit. So on, I think, the visiting day, my first impression was that there's a very professional kind of setup in the school that would, it seemed like a sort of, I wouldn't use the word cadre, but very professional kind of, resources, the buildings, everything looked quite, in place. As if it was saying, come join us for a year, it's going to be really strict, it's going to be quite hard on you, but we're going to try and make it pressure-free, and we're going to make it, very strategic, and we're going to get you to a better place. Everything about it just said that to me, and maybe I was a bit nervous that day as well, but I got a lot of comfort from the staff and the teachers, and obviously Helena, who took us to visit. And there was a few occasions where we sat down and talked about, basically strategized this whole what the retake experience is going to be individual to me. And it just felt it gave me a lot of confidence in that they're not just trying to put a frame that they use for every pupil on me, but they take into consideration what my educational history is like, what I've been going through, and what my strengths are, what my weaknesses are, what my current attitude towards studying is, and how because I wanted to change, obviously, majors from philosophy to PIR. They took that into full consideration. So yes, my impression of the open day was very cool buildings, very professional setup and facilities. Everything looked quite new. There's the contrast between this modern 65 building and the very kind of quite old and 90 to 92 buildings, and I really liked that contrast. I liked everything around it. I liked the welcomingness that I received from everybody there on that day, and yeah, it gave me a lot of confidence just seeing staff and teachers trying to, ask me, how would you approach it? And if so, this is how we're going to help. Yeah, it just gave me a lot of confidence, so we went with MPW straight away. So yes, like at the very beginning, like I met my DOS, my director of studies, and we talked about what my predicted grades sort of looked like and what I want to, what universities I want to apply for, and trying to obviously make extrapolations or predictions about where my grades are going to end at. So yes, that I think straight away gave me a very clear idea of just how much work I need to do for each subject and exactly how long I should be spending on them per day, how many hours, you know, and because there's very good correspondence, I think, with my teachers and my director of studies, you know, I get very, very specific feedback, like you've got to stop doing past papers for maths and do topic questions instead and difficult ones, you know, very specific ones like that. And when I apply that, I see like a very gradual and, you know, incremental improvement in my grades very quickly. And I think I owe that to, I think this DOS system, the Director of Studies system, truly. We do meet up like every week and talk about the academic progress and everything. And yes, I don't think I could have done it without Jacqueline and without my DOS. And also the small classes, it's truly great because retaking does get stressful sometimes, but with a small class, you know, there's so much more focus on each individual pupil. And I'm talking in French, we had 2 kids in my class, me and this other native speaker. It happened to be that way, so it was like an extra small class. I'm going to use that as an example because it's more exaggerated. There was so much focus on us, you know, it was like a 1-to-1 lesson. We get like such specific feedback for every part of our writing or listening or oral exams. There was a lot more chance to like do basically practice extensively every aspect of the exams and everything. Yeah, so the small classes as well in Chinese, you know, it was very interactive and it made it fun as well as, you know, specific to each pupil. Everybody gets a good chance to speak, to practice, to ask questions. It never felt rushed. You were never pressurized into like, oh, but if I ask this question, there's so many kids here that, you know, might not have that same question. There's never that sort of pressure. It was just really relaxed and really specific to every pupil. And it could be a 2-person class, it could be a 12-person class, but honestly, it just worked really nicely for me personally. There used to be next steps sessions, I think, every week on a Wednesday, and people would come together and there would be a teacher talking about, you know, every step that needs to be taken leading up to the UCAS application date. And basically we had really like a lot of help for personal statement writing, university choices, and we always have our, again, director of studies to talk about it every week, you know, so if in my case, I changed, you know, my direction completely, and I would come to my DOS and be like, I want to go from a very theoretical sort of direction, like philosophy, to PIR. You know, how should I write a successful personal statement for that? Or I had like at least 4 versions or 4 or 5 versions, final versions of the PS, but the really tight contact with my Director of Studies really helped reshape it and made it ideal for application. And obviously choosing universities and choosing majors, that was a big part of, I think the head of UCAS was really helpful for us as well because the correspondence was so quick, you know, you never had to wait 10 days for an email. Everything was really like quick. I wouldn't say it's always been smooth because there were some evaluations that had to be made, you know, when I talked to Jacqueline initially with the grades that I had back then about going to, you know, reapplying to all the universities I applied to the year before, LSE, UCL, KCL, etc. She was like, "Oh, are we sure we can get our grades to that point? Are you sure we are able to get the grades that meet the requirements?" So it was hard and I had to challenge a lot of things that I wanted to do in the first place, but there was definitely a lot of help and it followed you. You never had to chase anyone for information or for help. They were trying to help you all the time. So yeah, that was really, it definitely made my application experience very easy. relatively, truly, compared to my last school. Before MPW, my A-levels were, I got a D for maths, I got a C for French, and I got A for English literature. In MPW, I received grades A star for Mandarin, A for maths with just maybe 2 to 3 small points to an A star, which I missed, and a B for French with just maybe 1 or 2 points from an A. They're very close calls, but I'm really, really happy with these grades, and right now that got me to into UCL, studying politics and international relations. From the bottom of my heart, if you are planning to retake your A-levels and you want a course that's very tightly knit, very stringent and hard on you, but also not giving you too much pressure, giving you planning out exact steps in a highly strategized way to help you through this year while gaining life experience, having enough time out to also simultaneously enjoy life while you proceed with this strict disciplinary academic lifestyle, do come to MPW, because it really is tailored for you. You know, it really is tailored for you, and it will be a very, very good experience. I truly highly recommend it. Don't hold your breath for the turnaround. Come into the world of endless odds.